field is shrinking. The tension is rising. Every decision matters. Every card counts. Because every elimination brings us closer to the money.
Show me the money!
For most, that is the singular focus. But for top pros like Phil Ivey, the bubble is something to take advantage of.
The money's nice. The money is great. But winning is definitely more important at this stage.
It's a quest for cash.
Yes, baby! Yeah!
With an eye on the ultimate prize.
Oh, yeah! The madness has returned.
Get ready.
Yeah, baby!
Hold on tight.
Oh!
The race for the money is on. Welcome to the 40th Annual World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad. It's day 4, and the money's on everyone's mind.
We're here to have some fun, and we might even get paid.
6,494 began. Now just 789 remain in the main event. And of those, only 648 will make the money. And as this field shrinks, plenty of top pros remain in the hunt.
What's up, kid? How you doing?
Day 1 chip leader Troy Weber. Day 2 chip leader Amir Lehavat. Now with everyone else, trail current chip leader Bertrand Elke Grospellier. But Elke and the rest will have to contend with that impressive array of 6 remaining former champions.
That came to play, baby.
Helmuth, Harrington, Ferguson, and Baldwin are all out in the field.
My life is complete.
While Joseph Hashem and the defending champion Peter Eastgate reside at table 2. But as intimidating as the former champions are, the most feared player in all of poker is seated at our featured table, Phil Ivey.
He was put onto this planet to play poker better than anyone ever has or ever will. Mission almost accomplished.
I'm trying to make that UFC fight.
You made plans for tonight?
I bought the tickets and I didn't ever think I'll make it this far.
Maybe that's why you've gone out early the last 3 years.
We'll keep giving you chips.
Come on, Phil, you're my man. Get your head in the game.
Action underway here at the Rio. The blinds are now at 2 and 4,000 with a 500 chip ante. Action folds over to 7-time bracelet winner Phil Ivey. And on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky pocket cam, Phil looks down at ace-10 of hearts.
When you're playing with Ivey, it reminds me of a line from The Princess Bride. Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
From the button, Ivey raised it to 11,000. The small blind folded. Now the big blind, Bernard Perner with Queen 9 off.
Oh, that's going to help. Switch from regular glasses to shades. Phil's impressed.
The 36-year-old pro player from Salzburg, Austria, is in his first tournament outside of Austria, and he's going to call for 7,000 more. Heads up, Ivey and Perner, the flop. 10, Jack, Ace. Ivey hits aces up. Perner with an up and down straight draw.
Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line, my friend.
Perner on his draw at 16,005. Ivey makes the call.
Phil seems a bit bored, knows he's ahead.
Aces and 10s for Ivey. A tray on the turn. Ivey is still good. No help to Perner there. Perner first to act. And wow, is he going to turn his hand into a semi-bluff? 27,500.
Well, Perner the only one on the table with more chips than Ivey, and Phil might come over the top here.
Just a call for Phil with aces up.
Not sure if Phil's letting Perner hang himself or is being cautious just in case Perner flopped a straight or a set.
River card is a 9 that pairs Perner, but Ivey has the check mark. 3 diamonds on board.
Ivey just waiting to put the finishing touches on his first victim of the day.
Perner slows down and checks. Ivey now putting together some chips, and he's going to make it 50,000.
I wonder if Perner will switch back to his regular glasses before folding.
Well, Perner's going to give it some thought. A busted draw, just a pair of 9s into the muck.
I told you, my friend, never go against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
As if trying to make the money is not enough stress for the remaining players, they see Phil Ivey picking up on day 4 right where he left off, growing his formidable chip stack. Norman, the ultimate prize in poker is still the ultimate goal for the remaining players, but during the race for the money at the main event, an interesting dynamic unfolds. It involves patience, it requires strategy, and it revolves around one thing: cash.
It's tough to finish in the money. This year on my 12th try, I finally cashed at a World Series event. My advice to those still out there: see the green, be the green. To cash, it takes skill, luck, and in my case, crawling across the bubble with a couple of chips and a prayer. Boy, it felt good. I am no longer the best player never to cash at the World Series.
And you are just 34 cashes behind the world's best player. Ivey in good shape to make the money, sitting on more than 400,000 chips. Here's a look at the day 4 chip counts of some notable players. Ivy and Helmuth working towards $500,000 with 770 players left. Taking a look at the top 5, 2 Frenchmen atop the leaderboard. Elke way out in front with almost $1.4 million, and it looks as though he just brought us one closer to the money and extends his chip lead now over $1.5 million.
Elke cashed in last year's main event in 370th place. He has made 1 World Series final table. I don't believe he is a natural blonde.
Elke's had a great main event so far to another player who's had a great World Series, but Greg Mueller is 1 card from going home. His pocket sixes trail the pocket aces of Jeff Norman. The river card is another 7, and Mueller will have to be happy with 2 bracelets this year.
Thank you.
A terrific World Series for Mueller, but the main event never kind to him. He still hasn't cashed in the big one.
A much-deserved pat on the back for Greg Mueller as he makes his exit. Another 09 bracelet winner could be joining Mueller on the rail. J.C. Tran is all in, but his pocket queens are ahead of the pocket 10s of Lou Diamond Phillips after the flop.
How do you find queens?
Turn card is a Trey. Tran's still good.
Tran looking to dodge a 10 to stick around.
The river card now is a 9, and Tran will win the hand to double up.
I saw a lot of spots there, brother.
Hey, come on, guys.
What is that?
J.C. Tran still about 60,000 chips below chip average.
I feel like an ambassador. I'm just spreading love around the globe.
Really? I thought that was my job, Lon.
From the ambassador of love to the ambassador from the valley of unhappiness. Phil Helmuth in a hand against Kenny Shung after the river. Helmuth had checked. Action is now on Shung. Shung, that's 75,000.
Okay, I fold.
Phil had rags.
Yeah, busted straight draw.
I had a 9 and a 6.
Yeah, rags.
I think I'm going to get you today with like a 9-6. You got a set.
Yeah, remember what a set looks like, Phil?
I'm going to bluff, 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 and then when the big pot comes, I'm going to show the nuts.
That sounds like an off-Broadway show.
That's what I do.
That's what he does.
Helmuth, one of 6 former champions, still alive in this main event. Over at table 2 are 2 of them. Joseph Hashem, the 05 champion, is joined by Peter Eastgate, the defending champ, looking to win in back-to-back years. And they are joined by 2-time bracelet winner Bert Boutin, Solid Pro Surrender Sunar, and World Series veteran Bob Feduniak. Action folds around to Peter Eastgate.
Eastgate says he's a 200-to-1 shot to ever win the main event again.
Ace 10 of clubs.
I dare you to raise my big blind. I dare you. You.
I follow.
Oh, my God.
Eastgate does raise Hashem's big blind.
You guys act like you won the main event before or something.
Action folds to the big blind.
You are so sick.
Hashem with 8-6. Oh, he's going to come along.
Clash of the Titans. Wow.
I think Joe is flirting with Peter Eastgate, and yes, I am jealous.
All right, these 2 champs heads up to the flop. 5, 7, 10, all diamonds. Eastgate's pair of 10s is the best hand, but Hashem's flush and straight draws are the favorite.
See one more.
Friendly poker.
Turn card, another 5. Eastgate now the favorite with his 10s and 5s. Hashem makes it 18,000.
Hashem hopes that bet ends matters.
Eastgate's not going anywhere.
Yeah, you can't shake these young whippersnappers that easy, Joe.
River card now is a 9, and Hashem hits the straight to the 10, earns the check mark.
Perfect card for Hashem. Eastgate can't put him on an 8-6.
25.
That's 25.
25,000 from Joe Hashem. Eastgate, we've seen, is very curious. Will make the call.
Straight.
Now the straight will beat the 2 pair.
It's good.
Eastgate's thinking, boy, world champions get lucky.
Dare you to raise my big blind. Ace 10. In the muck, ace 10.
8-6. In the muck.
It was my big blind.
Hashem with the last word on Eastgate. That's not too tough, but more importantly, Joe wants every last chip.
Yes!
The action has been fast and furious.
This is crazy.
The knockouts are piling up.
I hope I can bust 2 people.
Some familiar faces have fallen. But for those who remain, the pressure is just beginning.
So much drama. So much intrigue.
Donations are much appreciated.
We're getting closer to the money. Back at the Rio, we're 90 players away from the money, and we may be getting even closer to the money right now.
I gotta get lucky one time.
Denise Malloy, a grandmother of 3, begging to keep her dreams of a payday alive. She's a long shot, though. Her pocket 10s behind the pocket aces of John Monette pre-flop. And the flop?
Oh, wow. I need another 10.
Indeed, a set for both.
Give her a 10, he won't mind.
10. Turn is a tray.
10, 1 time 10.
Give her the last 10.
10 of clubs.
River card. 10 of clubs! She won the hand.
This is why the main event is a joy line.
Oh my God. I had one out. 1 out.
Monette's thinking, yeah, one stinking out.
I'm gonna hug somebody.
I once hugged somebody after hitting quads. That led to my first divorce.
My husband is in here.
That's how it starts.
Elsewhere, Brian Shapiro moved all in with pocket aces pre-flop. He was called, but now trails Kevin Saul, who flopped a set of kings.
A couple of 29-year-olds tangling.
Turn card now is a jack. Shapiro with some hope.
Yeah, Shapiro now can make a straight, so an ace or a queen keeps him alive.
River card now. Oh, is the queen!
Yes!
That's Broadway for Shapiro.
Still in this tournament. Yeah. Do that one more time for me, please, sir. Yeah, you deserve that because of your hairdo.
That is a suspect hairdo, but Shapiro's out of line.
Oh, baby, I'm still in this tournament.
Saul did not appreciate the post-river trash talk.
Completely out of line.
Borderline excessive.
Well, tournament director Jack Effel has shown up.
Big side. I don't think insulting.
I apologize.
Pretty sure he was insulting you.
He was insulting you?
Yeah. He said, I deserve it because of my haircut.
Okay, I apologize. I will not say anything like that again, I promise.
Apology
I
is not
apologize.
appropriate.
Okay.
Was that said?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was said. It was innocuous. Let's move on.
So we'll give you a one-hand penalty next hand. You're going to sit out the right stand.
One-hand penalty?
Uh-oh, I make fun of people all the time. Do I have to take a one-hand penalty?
Yes, you do. So Norman will sit out this hand. At table 2, Joe Hashem cannot watch as he now tries to get us one closer to the money. Bob Feduniak all in with pocket jacks, way behind Hashem's pocket queens.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you.
Perputan having a little fun with Joe, but Feduniak can barely crack a smile. The river is a blank. Hashem wins with his pocket queens. Bob Feduniak eliminated.
I'm like a little girl with the heart of a pea.
Good thing I took that hand off, Lon. I might have made a comment about dead money or something.
Wouldn't want that to happen. Back at our featured table, there's the main event bracelet, just about the only poker accolade that has eluded Phil Ivey.
He's been my pick to win the main event for the last 7 years. He's looking good. I don't think he ever sweats.
Phil looks down at 8-7 off on the button, and another raise to 11,000.
Ivy raising from the button. The worst position in the Rio right now, Lon, is anyone in the blinds or anyone at Phil Helmy's table?
Bernard Perner with pocket deuces. He lost about 55,000 chips to Phil on the first hand. Looks like he's going to try to get him back right now.
But he's saving time. His sunglasses are already on.
Heads up to the flop. It is 7, Jack, 7. Ivy out flops Perner again, trip sevens. Perner, first to act, left with his pocket deuces. That's 22,000.
Ivy's not the best player, Lon, because he gets cards. He wins when he's got nothing, and when he flops the goods, he knows how to maximize his earnings.
Phil with a flat call there. Turn card is at 8. Ivy with a check mark. He now has a full boat.
Boy, this just isn't fair.
Perner now checks.
I don't think Phil sweats.
Phil will try to make Perner sweat and makes it 40,000 to stay in the hand.
I thought Ivy might have checked and let Perner maybe take a stab at the pot on the river, but he correctly determined he'd get a call from Perner right there.
Perner with the check call. River card is a 7. Quads, are you kidding me?
Phil's gone from rags to trips to a full house to quads.
He's improved on every street. Perner checks again.
Now all Phil Ivy is trying to do is calculate how much he can bet to get a call.
Can he get more from Perner? He bets 120,000.
Phil's calculations say 80% of the pot could make it look like a bluff. And maybe Perner's got a notion not to lay his deuces down.
Ivy may have led Perner into believing his deuces are good. That's the genius of Phil Ivy at work. And he does make the call. Yeah, quad sevens for Phil. Ivy does the job.
Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
So the two big stacks at this feature table going in opposite directions. Day 4 has started out very profitably for Ivy.
Nice hand, Phil. Thank you.
Perner, on the other hand, has lost nearly half of his stack on day 4, most of that going to Ivy. Phil Ivy catching cards is like LeBron James playing with a 9-foot hoop. It just doesn't seem fair. Time now for Deal Me In, brought to you by FullTiltPoker.net. To make a mediocre hand a winning hand, you have to protect it and play aggressive. In the 04 main event, Chris Ferguson did just that in a hand against William Erickson.
I had 10-7 in the big blind. My opponent made a very small raise, thought his raise was kind of weak, so I actually call him with the 10-7. Now the flop comes Jack 8-7, and it's actually a very interesting flop in my hand. I have bottom pair, and I have an inside straight draw. Even if I'm beaten at this point, I have a lot of outs. Since my opponent raised, I'm just going to check it to him. He bets, and now at this point, I don't have a huge stack in front of me, so I have to make a tough decision with the 10-7.
And his decision is to go all in.
I like moving all in myself, because I don't want my opponent to put me to that tough decision. Fortunately, my opponent doesn't have anything, and he folds.
He kicks it in.
My 10-7 is really a semi-bluff. There's a good chance my hand is good. But even if my hand isn't good, I have a lot of outs against my opponent's likely holding.
Nice hand, Chris.
Just having an approximate idea of what the odds are is really all you need to play really strong poker.
Chris loved playing the board game Risk as a kid. He now takes most of his risks at the poker table, and they're usually good ones.
But most of Chris's risks have not reaped rewards in this World Series. Just one cash leading up to the main event. But with almost 400,000 chips here, Chris looks pretty good to make the money.
Can't believe they didn't jinx me on that deal.
And thanks to Dan Bilzerian, we are one closer to the money. He just knocked out a player and looks to get back on top of the leaderboard.
Dan won half of the Bilzerian brother venture capitalist tandem here at the main event.
There is Adam Bilzerian looking to get us even closer to the money bubble. Adam has a player all in, and his face might be familiar. It's Lake Garner from the 2006 Amazing Race. He and his wife came in 6th place, and he's heads up to the flop. And Garner flops a straight.
Adam, a good online player that taught his brother how to play.
Bilzerian with a 1% chance, but no longer, as Garner will double up. Bilzerian drawing dead.
Kiss me.
I'll pass on that offer.
Adam's ace-king goes down in flames, but he still has a strong chip count.
Adam looks the way I feel most Thursdays.
Yeah, flop it straight.
So one reality star survives, while Lou Diamond Phillips, who won the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here reality show, is currently in a big pot against Ken Harbaugh going to the river.
Harbaugh, a 54-year-old amateur from Atlanta.
River card, 10 of spades, 3 spades out there, up and down straight draw on the board.
35.
Harbaugh checked, Phillips bets 35,000. Harbaugh calls immediately, and Lou Diamond Phillips shows the nut flush to win the pot.
47-year-old actor-director has been playing in a home game for about 20 years now.
Even a blind hog can find an acre every once in a while.
As expected, Lou Diamond Phillips very comfortable in front of the cameras here at the main event, but he finds his toughest role to be that of a poker player.
I'm not really a poker player, but I have played one on TV. I think being, well known as an actor actually helps me because they don't expect me to be able to play.
Hey, no respect.
My celebrity has allowed me to meet some of the greats. Scotty Wen's a good buddy.
You bust other people, Lou Diamond. They don't bust you.
Greg Raymer, TJ, Kenny Tran.
I know some pretty cool people.
They give me some pointers, and I paid my tuition over the years. Back in the day, if Gus Hansen sat down at the table or Doyle Brunson, the heart just starts pumping.
I ain't gonna wrestle you just yet.
It's like running into a lion in the jungle, You suddenly feel like prey. And it took me a couple of years to get past that intimidation factor. I'm kind of living the dream for, a lot of talented amateurs.
Nice.
I keep saying, send me the mojo, cry havoc and let loose the dogs of war.
Thank you. Been here all week.
The highest celebrity finish at the main event, Gabe Kaplan, 6th in 1980. Telly Savalas was 21st in 1992.
At table 2, Joe Hashem has his game face on with a pair of 9s and an up and down straight draw. Jason Adler leads with a flop set of 8s. Action on Adler.
I'm all in.
And Adler will shove here on the turn.
This would cost Joe Hashem about a quarter of his stack to call. We're getting close to the bubble. He's got to wonder if Adler really would push with just a marginal hand.
Call time, please.
Joe wants the clock called on himself.
I've got to make a decision. I can take forever.
Take as long as you want, Joe. Don't call a clock on yourself.
Adler seems very comfortable. We saw Daniel Negreanu call a clock on himself accidentally earlier in the main event.
Start counting down. If I thought you had one pair, I'd call you in a heartbeat, but I think you've got more than one pair.
10-second countdown. 9.
Joe's got a good read on him.
Pass.
Asham makes the right decision.
I have no idea what you had then.
I think I made a bad fold.
You made a good fold.
Both players trying to extract info from the other, and that info apparently is not forthcoming. Let's get back to the featured table and Phil Ivey, who always seems to know what he's up against, Norman.
He's my man.
Action begins on Ivey. Ivey with pocket kings.
Phil Ivey with pocket kings. I think that's illegal in 45 states.
A raise to 11,000.
I don't want to play with Ivey. I don't think this guy wants to play with Ivey. I don't want to play with Ivey. I don't want to play with Ivey.
Nobody wants to play with Ivey. Action on Kevin Stammen, 23 years old from Coldwater, Ohio, on the button with pocket sixes.
We have found our victim.
He does make the call.
Before he became a poker pro, Stammen used to pour concrete for basements.
Heads up against Phil Ivey now. Queen 7, kings up for Phil. He's still a huge favorite.
Stammen won a bracelet this year in No Limit Hold'em. In that event, Ivey finished 18th.
Ivey checks here. Stammen makes it 16,000 to stick around.
World Series fun fact for you, Lon. Phil Ivey has never lost a hand in which he's called a 16,000 chip bet on the flop with pocket kings against a bracelet-winning former concrete worker.
Yeah, who didn't know that? Turn card now. 8 of hearts. Ivey's still good with kings up. He checks.
Yeah, Ivey checks while he's checking out Stammen.
Stammen checks back this time. River card now. Is another 7. Ivey earns the check mark. He checked the turn, and now Ivey reaching for chips. 25,000.
Ivey thinks his kings up are good. Stammen now has to play the board. This is a fold or raise for him.
75.
And he chooses raise, trying to bluff Phil Ivey.
Yeah, he's going to try to convince Phil he's got the best hand. But the way he said 75, it sounded more like Screech from Saved by the Bell than, say, Amarillo Slim.
This is the only way Stammen can hope to take this pot.
Well, Stammen trying to push Ivey off the best hand. Remember, Stammen bet the flop, so Ivey's got to think it's possible Stammen's either got a queen or he has a 7 in his hand and got really lucky on the river.
Ivey looks wary, but he does make the call. Stammen says, well, I'm just playing the board, Phil. Ivey shows him his kings and will win that pot.
My man, Phil Ivey. How hasn't he won the main event?
He takes over 100,000 from Stammen.
Almost. Yeah, you...
Against Phil Ivey, almost is never good enough.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Back to the Rio, and Phil Ivey's at it again. On the button, he raised. Andy Bellin shoved. Ivey called and hit his 6 on the flop, now with 1 card to come.
I knew I should have never dropped out of grad school.
Grad school's for wimps, Andy. Bellin became a writer and authored the book Poker Nation, a real good read. But right now, all he's thinking about is an ace.
The river card is a jack. Ivey wins the pot. Bellin knocked out.
I'll tell Chris you knocked me out.
A lot of people are going to be telling Chris Phil Ivey knocked him out.
Ivey over 700,000. He's not sweating the mo. Phil is focused on becoming the main event champ, like 6 others still in this field have done. Let's take a look at the FullTiltPoker.net tournament ticker and see the remaining champions and the number of main event cashes they've had in their careers. Barry Johnston leads everyone, cashing in 10 main events, though he did not add to that total this year. 95 champ Dan Harrington looking to add to his total. He just knocked out a player.
This one better.
What's with the neck brace? Did he have a bad flop?
Elsewhere, Dennis Phillips looking to match Dan's main event feat of back-to-back final tables and a hand against L.A. pro Odie Darden. After the river, Phillips bets 21,000.
Are you getting ready to show me a flop?
Never show my cards unless somebody calls. Ever.
Ever? That's a long time.
Darden finally falls. The chip leader at the start of last year's final table takes the pot.
Look, you're trying to stall till a bubble bursts.
Speaking of chip leaders, the curse of the day 1 chip leader looks to be alive and well, because that man Troy Weber is anything but. He shoved with a pair of 10s. Mads Anderson called with a set of 5s, and Weber's gone.
According to legend, the day 1 chip leader has never won the main event. The curse lives on.
Despite the curse, few players would turn down being the day 1 chip leader if offered, but nobody wants to be the bubble boy, 1 out of the money, and that is the subject of this edition of The Nuts.
It sucks to be the bubble boy.
Segan eliminated. The money bubble is broken.
It always stinks. It's the worst.
Steve Chong just made 666 new friends.
We're in the money, baby.
Everyone's happy after you get knocked out.
There's pandemonium breaking out. Everyone got paid except you.
You've tried so hard, and you come up with nothing. It is truly a bubble because it just burst right in your face.
I hate the bubble.
Just about every top player has bubbled.
Been there, done that, have the t-shirt.
I think last year I bubbled 3 events. Maybe I was a bad person in a past life. Maybe I'm a bad person in this life and I just don't know about it.
I'd like to say it was fun, but I'd be lying. All right, guys. You want to knock me out first? I'm going golfing. But don't just make me put all those hours in for nothing.
I disagree. I don't think bubbling's a bad thing at all. If you're a bubble boy, that means you've got guts. It's the guys who squeak in the money like the little rats, you know? Like, those are the ones that should be embarrassed. The guy who goes out with a blaze of glory and says, I'm the bubble boy, you know, he should be applauded. This is a guy that's going to make it someday.
So, Norman, by your account, you are one of those rats Daniel was talking about?
I am a rodent, and I cashed.
Denise Malloy will not be the bubble person. Her luck has run out.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm available for a hug if her husband's still not around.
So we are just 22 away from the money and head back to the feature table where Phil Ivey has been on a tear, not just at this feature table, throughout the main event. Action begins on Bingjiang Wu, who goes by Ben Wu. Looks down at King Jack offsuit.
Poker pro from Southern California.
And he's going to raise it up to $10,500. Richard Kane from Plant City, Florida. Veterinarian, ace 10 of diamonds.
No veterinarian has ever won the main event, Lon.
He says he makes house calls, also in Florida, and he makes the house call there for 10-5.
Well, with the bubble approaching, he's cautious with that suited ace in a short stack.
That's Eugene Fuchsman, a CEO from an investment firm in Florida, and he misses our pocket cam, but he's going to make the call from the small blind. Phil Ivey now.
In the big blind.
He has an ace and a queen.
You know, I hate ace-queen, but if Ivey likes it, maybe I'll come around.
Ivey has chips in his hand, his every move scrutinized by all.
As we approach the bubble, everyone wants Ivey out of the hand.
And he seems to know exactly what they're thinking, so he turns up the burner, a big re-raise to $48,000.
Ivey playing big stack, bubble bursting bully. Figures that bet might clear out all the riffraff.
Well, Ben Wu with a re-raise to $125,500.
Ben Wu be still my heart.
Kane folds. Fuchsman gets out of the way. Back to Ivey now.
Well, Ivey figured he would scare away all the scared money. What a re-raise from Wu with King Jack off. If I'm Phil, I've got to figure Wu's got to have a hand this close to the bubble to tangle with a bigger stack.
And Phil does lay it down, so with a little extra aggression pre-flop, Wu takes the pot.
As usual, ace-queen is no good, and Wu can finally exhale.
Ivey sees that Wu might have got away with something, but I doubt Phil will let that happen again. Tension is rising.
Obviously, you don't care about making the money.
All look to avoid being out of chips and out of the money.
I don't run scared. Never have, never will.
But even those who have gone deep before are not immune to falling short.
Next year.
As the eliminations continue,
that sucks.
the moment nears.
Speed!
We're now just 5 away from the money.
I want to be the bubble boy. I want to be it.
Only 5 players to go, and we begin hand-for-hand play in order to prevent stalling. Every table in the Rio Poker Room plays a hand and stops until all tables are done. Big hand going on right now. Eugene Tito all in. His queen 10 trailing the ace-king of Steve Sanders.
Queen.
Flop is queen deuce tray. Tito with a pair of queens to lead.
Tito now a 3-1 favorite to stay alive.
7 on the turn. Tito still best.
Come on, pair the board.
Tito has to avoid a river, ace, or king.
River, is an ace, and in a flash, Tito's hopes are crushed. He falls short of the money.
Down and out. Steve Sanders, no worse for the wear. Eugene Tito's got to report to the rail.
This is prime time for some to be extra aggressive and pad their stacks. Elke Grospellier does that. He's up to almost $1.7 million. But for others, like the poker brat, it's nap time.
To fall asleep, I wonder if he counts idiots from Northern Europe jumping over a fence.
Back to the featured table. Phil Ivey using some downtime to grab a snack from his fan club, Mel and Pat Humphreys.
Watching a top predator eating in the wild so rare to capture on camera. The ivy species usually consumes its prey under the cloak of darkness outside of Bobby's room near the big game. Fascinating.
I believe that's in Macintosh Apple, Norman. All right, let's get back over to table 2. They're dealing, and action is on. 05 champ Joe Hashem. Joe looks down at King 8 offsuit. And he will raise the action to 15,000.
Close to the bubble, Hashem raises with rags, hoping to pick up the blinds and antes.
Pro Burt Boutan gets out of the former champ's way. Action over to the defending champ, Peter Eastgate, with pocket queens.
He's not going anywhere.
Eastgate calls.
Clash of the Titans 2, back in the habit.
All right, here's the flop. 8, ace, 5. Eastgate still leads. Hashem paired his 8. Eastgate checks.
You know, a pre-flop raise from Eastgate would have ended the hand, I think, but he was cautious.
The ace slows them both down. Turn card is a tray. Eastgate is still best. And he checks again. Hashem wants to see where he's at with those 8s. Bets 18,000.
Well, at this point, Hashem figured Eastgate had no interest in the pot, but as you can see, he does.
9 on the river. Eastgate with the check mark. He checks.
One pair.
One pair.
Eastgate's pair is better.
Even.
But once they got involved, each wanted to avoid a big pot.
Yep, 73,000 in that pot. Eastgate takes it.
Playing snuck. I'm playing snuck. Playing tight.
You gonna make sure you cash?
Something tells me Peter Eastgate's not just concerned with finishing in the money. At another table, amateur Corey Katz played 9-6 offsuit and hit trips.
Did anybody have a 7?
That's his opponent, Giovanni Nervo, who pushed all in with 2 pair after the flop.
Nervo would pay good money for a 7 right now.
Turn card now is a king. No help to Nervo.
Nervo needs a 7 or he finishes painfully short of the money.
It is a 5 on the river. Katz wins it. Giovanni Nervo will make his exit. 650 remain, just 2 from the money. To another table, Mike Carlson has to make a decision for all of his chips.
Weird dilemma. I don't really care if I bubble, but I'm really going to hate myself.
Kevin Schaffel bet enough to put Carlson all in. Carlson makes the call.
All in and a call.
Schaffel shows the nut flush. Carlson mucks and walks away.
Yep. I called it off with 1 pair.
Carlson's got to hate himself.
Kevin Schaffel delivers the knockout punch to Mike Carlson, and he goes over the million chip mark, and the bubble is at hand. 649 remain. We're just 1 away from the money.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Welcome back to the Rio. Yep, it's that time. 1 away from the money. Tension is high. No one wants to be the one, the bubble boy. Maybe, though, it will be this guy, Kia Hamadani, the short stack in the room. He's a small blind with only 3,000 behind.
I feel a kinship with this man. This was my position when I cashed. Last in chips, long on hope. Hang tough, buddy.
Hamadani folds. Can he hang on? At another table, Joey Michael on the right has moved all in pre-flop against 2 opponents. Jerry Osinski has both players covered by the slimmest of margins, but next to act is the shorter of the 3 state.
Come here, camera.
Chait wants to show us his cards.
I'm surprised our cameraman wasn't on hot dog and cookie break.
Pocket kings.
If he folds pocket kings here, I am no longer the biggest rat in this frosted bubble.
Chait would need to move all in to make the call.
I will not be the bubble boy.
What? He lays him down.
Wow.
All right, now over to Osinski.
Not yet. I will let you.
And he folds pocket 10s.
Boy, pocket 10s.
Classic bubble play from Joey Michael.
Kings, show me aces. Oh my God, I am so proud.
Michael shows a king.
With me. I'm such a.
But you're not the bubble boy.
Michael takes the pot.
I will not be the bubble boy. You'll give me some sick beat that I don't want to deal with.
You dirty rat, my hero.
Josh wishes he didn't see his opponent's cards. Now it's your turn to play blind. Time for Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand as you at home try to figure out one player's whole cards.
One more. One more. Be nice, Phil. Be nice.
Jade Chansambath telling Phil, why don't you sit this one out? All right, here we go. Oh, and it's Phil Ivey with the wild card hand, Norman.
Ivy's easy to figure out. He's a one-man book of tells.
He raises to 14,000.
With the bubble looming, Ivy could be getting aggressive with any two cards. I'm going to put him on a big card and a small card suited.
Bernard Perner, ace-10 offsuit in the small blind.
Now, when I cashed Lon, I'd like to raise in this situation to see where I stand.
Okay, we're happy about your cash, Norman. Perner makes the call for 11.5 more.
I don't like that. You know, sometimes you got to be a man, and sometimes you got to be a man against Phil Ivey. I would have been a man.
It's up against Ivey again. 7, Queen, 10. Perner pairs his 10.
Well, when I cashed, I would lead out in this type of situation. Again, I'd want to see where I stand.
The whole universe is happy about your cash, Norman. Perner checks.
I didn't like that comment, and I didn't like that check, Lon. Ivy now can bet with anything.
Ivy does bet 20,000.
I think Ivy's on a club or straight draw.
Perner with second pair makes the call.
He's playing cautiously near the bubble.
All right, turn card now is another queen.
When I cashed Lon, I saw this exact board. 7, Queen, 10, Queen.
You were playing stud 8. There's no board.
What, you're going to nitpick me now?
Perner checks.
He checked again? I've lost hope for Perner. He's never going to be a man.
Ivy, the big bet, 60,000.
Ivy's fired on every street. He could just be playing the bubble. I think he's on a draw. He's been pounding Perner like a piñata today and hopes he'll finally cry uncle.
Well, Perner has not learned his lesson yet. He does call. River card now is a 4, a third diamond on board.
No, if Phil was on a club draw after the flop, that didn't get there, and a straight never got there.
Perner checks.
And if Phil bets, Perner will have a tough decision with his 10s.
If Phil bets, what do you mean? Have you been watching all day? He's going to bet it. 160,000 this time from Phil.
Phil bets 80% of the pot on the river again against Perner. But last time he did this against Perner, he had the nuts and made it look like a bluff. This time, I think it is a bluff. That's the beauty of Phil's game. He's got squad douche. I think Perner should make a gutsy call here.
Perner considering his options and does mock.
Mistake.
So it doesn't matter what Phil Ivey has, but we're going to see anyway. Oh, he had trip queens.
Okay, so I'm wrong again. Sue me. You know, when I cashed, I'm glad Phil Ivey...
Yeah, you cashed. So Ivey on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wildcard hand takes it with 3 queens.
You're happy with me. You always get a lot of chips from me. For now.
Phil gives a speech.
Ivey with nearly 800,000 has more than doubled his stack today. Over at table 2, the main event champion festival continues. Hashem and Eastgate posing for pictures, signing autographs.
You know, I think he misspelled his name.
Well, the champs are frolicking. Richard Harrington is fretting. He may be our bubble boy. All in. His aces need help after Adam Sanders flopped 2 pair.
And you see why Josh Chait didn't want to call all in with kings. Stuff happens.
Turn card is no help to Harrington.
And we are now just 1 card away from this whole room cashing. Harrington needs an ace, 8, or deuce, or he is our bubble boy.
And the river card is another deuce. Ace is up for Harrington, and he doubles up and stays alive.
The search for bubble boy continues.
Harrington stays alive with a better 2 pair, and that is worthy of a celebration. So he's not the bubble boy, but someone will be. Still 1 to go before the money. Back to the Rio. Hand-for-hand play continues. Still 1 away from the money. Let's get over to a duel between J.C. Tran and actor Lou Diamond Phillips with a straight draw on the board. Phillips just bet 30,000.
Phillips has the 2-time bracelet winner covered.
Tran has been having trouble getting momentum in this main event. Below average with his chip stack. Raises to 80,000. Phillips makes a quick call.
Lou Diamond, without hesitation, says, let's see a river.
River card is a queen of diamonds. Lou Diamond Phillips, first to act, bets 130,000.
Yeah, he leads out without hesitation.
Show me. We'll see.
Usually the pros push around the amateurs. It's the other way around here.
Tran folds, and Phillips turned to straight. He'll pad his stack with almost 100,000 more.
I was thinking you'd push.
JC thinking something else right now.
You don't want to be that guy, JC. You don't want to be that guy.
No one wants to be that guy, but right now, that guy might be former main event champ Bobby Baldwin. He's all in and behind after the flop. Baldwin with a nut flush draw. Eldon Elias leads with pocket queens. Turn card 5 of hearts. Baldwin with a straight draw.
I didn't come to the main event to see Bobby Baldwin be the bubble boy, but if Baldwin doesn't get an ace, 8, or a spade, he is our bubble boy.
River card is a spade, and Baldwin does manage to stay alive, hitting the flush.
I was going to be the bubble baby, but...
So the river saves another. We're still 1 away from the money. Remember Kia Hamadani? He had only 3,000 left. Well, he's still alive, but down to just 1,000.
Come on, Kia, you can do it. Crawl, baby, crawl, crawl, crawl.
With a 500 chip ante per hand, Kia has only 2 hands left. Back to the featured table. Ivy has a lot of hands left. On the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Pocket Cam, Phil Ivey looks down at pocket 9s.
Who's going to want to play with Phil Ivey in this spot?
A raise to 14,000.
Cowards.
Herner gets out of the way this time.
Cowards all.
Wu folds. Kane lays it down.
Cowards.
Mick Graydon, an Irish poker pro. Ace, king of spades.
Oh, goodness, he's got to play. Graydon has 170,000 chips. If he's scared of Ivy in the bigger stack, he should just call here and see a flop.
What? He mucked.
He folded? Wow, that's like a brain bubble.
So Ivy takes another pot with that pre-flop raise.
At ace king. Ace king spades. Swear to God.
Just now? I had 2 9s.
That fold is stunning. Telling everyone about it is stunning. Ivy telling the truth is stunning. The bubble is making everyone lose their mind. Someone end this madness.
One person hoping it ends here is your boy Kia Hamadani.
Ridiculous. This has got to be the longest, last player. Yeah. It's been like 5 hands.
Don't play, Kia. Fold it. Some bozo is bound to shove pre-flop with 100 big blinds and king jack suited.
He does lay it down.
This is the main event after all, and you are still on the hunt.
He's got 1 hand left.
You got it, man.
That's Brian Hood with pocket kings.
If this was any spot with the bubble, my money would have been in there faster than you guys would ever know.
Hood raised, Schwartzman called, a third player re-raised, Hood 4-bet it, and Schwartzman came back over the top all in.
I wish I was Phil Ivey and I could call this comfortably.
Don't we all wish we were Phil Ivey? Now call and make me and Kia the happiest couple in the Rio.
We've seen ace, king, and kings folded, and now kings in the muck again.
Shows the aces.
Hood looks sick, but he's alive and well. I can't believe we saw pocket kings folded again.
Lucky timing for Hood. Any other time his chips might have been in the middle and gone. Elsewhere, David Russell with head in hand has pocket aces. He's all in against the ace-jack of Eugene Kachaloff. The flop jack 8-5. Russell sweating. Kachaloff still alive.
Of course. You got out. Of course.
The room smells bad beat blood.
There's my guy Kia with his 1 chip.
All right, turn card now is a 7. Russell's aces are still best.
Kachaloff will need a jack and a jack only to make David Russell the bubble boy.
River card now is another 7, and Russell doubles up with aces up.
Kia Hamadani will have to get real lucky now. He'll be all in with his next ante. And Lon, I am tired of saying bubble boy.
Well, Russell is not the bubble boy. And in that small pile, Kia Hamadani's last chip. He'll be all in. He hasn't even looked at his cards yet.
All in, baby. Let's go.
I think Kia's got pocket kings.
Oh, a bonus Jack Link's wild card hand for you. Over to Reed Hensel. He's going to raise it to 17,000.
17,000.
That's bad news for Kia.
Marty Zabib makes the call from the small blind.
More bad news.
Mike Nye calls.
I got to be 4 players now.
He's got to beat 3, but it's still bad news.
All right, 4 players see a flop of queen, 6, queen. Nye and Zabib check. Hensel, the pre-flop raiser, bets 20,000.
That bet is really bad news for Kia.
Zabib gets out of the way. Nye folds, so here we go. Hensel turns over 9 deuce.
I like my hand.
What type of bet was that?
So Hamadani now shows.
No!
4 tray!
Oh.
Yeah, Hensel did Hamadani a big favor there, bluffing the other players out. But Kia, with the worst luck imaginable, he can't beat 9 deuce.
He's got a heart, too.
It's not possible.
Turn card now, pairs Hensel, and that's going to do it. Hamadani drawing dead. He is the bubble boy, and we are in the money. With Jack Effel's announcement, a celebration breaks out in the Rio poker room. Every player guaranteed over $21,000.
We did it. We're in the money, honey.
Short stacks celebrate.
Hey, look, it's one of my fellow rats.
Dennis Phillips celebrates his second consecutive cash.
6 idiots from Northern Europe, 7 idiots from Northern Europe.
Joe Hashem is psyched also. And Peter Eastgate's still alive in his defense.
I'm happy too, Phil. Now let's go win this thing.
For all who made the money, it is a time for celebration.
Congratulations, Gabriel.
But soon it will be back to the business at hand, moving up the pay ladder and making the final table. For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. We'll see you next time as they start handing out the cash at the main event.